Love Strikes at the Fashion Show. By AI with Heart. The backstage of the Milan fashion show buzzed with controlled chaos, stylists fixing final touches, assistants running with garment bags, and models standing in heels taller than logic. In the middle of it all stood Ava, clipboard in hand, a faint coffee stain on her blouse and a determined fire in her eyes. She wasn't one of the models or designers, just the assistant show coordinator, but she treated the runway like sacred ground. Organized, driven, and always 5 minutes ahead of everyone, Ava had built a quiet reputation for being the invisible force behind many successful shows. Across the venue, Leo adjusted the camera strap on his shoulder. He had the kind of relaxed charm that made people want to open up. A freelance fashion photographer, Leo had been hired last minute to capture candid backstage shots for the magazine sponsors. The two had never met. Yet. As Leo moved between models and racks of couture, he caught sight of Ava directing a lighting tech with firm gestures. Something about her stood out, not just her presence, but the calm beneath the storm. He lifted his camera instinctively and snapped a shot. Click. Ava turned, caught mid-laugh as she explained something to a junior assistant. Her eyes met the lens. She blinked. He lowered the camera. "Did you just take my photo?" she asked, half amused. Leo grinned. "Guilty. You look like the only person here who knows what they're doing." She raised an eyebrow. "Flattery won't stop me from reporting unauthorized photography." He raised his hands in mock surrender. "Not unauthorized, I was hired." Leo. "Photographer." "Ava," she replied, a reluctant smile playing at her lips. "Show coordinator." "And officially on to you." They stood in the hum of backstage tension, the moment oddly still. Then someone called her name, and she was gone, like a spark extinguished by wind. Leo spent the rest of the afternoon capturing the pulse of the show, model fittings, makeup chaos, quiet moments of nerves. Yet his lens kept returning to her. Not always with a click, but with interest. Ava, meanwhile, kept her focus laser-sharp. But every so often, she glanced sideways to find Leo watching the scene with a kind of reverence, as if fashion was poetry instead of pressure. After the show, the energy shifted. Applause faded, heels came off, and champagne bottles opened. Ava stood by the back exit, sipping water, decompressing. Leo approached slowly, holding up his camera. "I owe you a better introduction," he said, scrolling through the photos. "You were in a few. I think you'll like them." She looked. The photos weren't glamorous. They were honest, her laughing, her frowning in concentration, her giving a thumbs up to a nervous model. She looked real. "These are good," she said quietly. "I'm told I'm decent at finding beauty in the madness." She met his eyes, something soft flickering there. "Are you always this poetic, or just after a long day?" "Only when I'm tired and brave." They laughed. The conversation flowed. About cities they'd both visited for work. Favorite midnight snacks. How fashion was both art and armor. As the night deepened, their voices lowered. The kind of closeness that forms when two people find rhythm in silence. Eventually, she sighed. "Well, I should." He interrupted, gentle. "Do you want to grab something to eat?" "Not fancy. Just whatever's open and doesn't require heels." She hesitated. Then nodded. "Yes. That sounds perfect." They ended up at a tiny corner cafe with chipped mugs and fairy lights. Over warm bread and pasta, they talked until chairs were stacked around them. There was no grand confession, no instant love song. Just two people laughing, learning, lingering. 1 week later, Ava got a message. A photo. It was her, from that night, sitting by the cafe window, smiling softly at something unseen. "Found beauty again," it read. She smiled. In the weeks that followed, their worlds overlapped more intentionally. Coffee runs between shoots. Late-night texts about art and life. Walks through empty city streets, where Ava would point out architectural details, and Leo would invent stories for passersby. They weren't perfect. Ava was meticulous, Leo, more spontaneous. She planned, he improvised. She worried about wrinkles, he laughed at them, but their differences danced rather than clashed. Then came another fashion show. Paris. Bigger, louder. Ava was promoted. Leo was again behind the lens. There was tension, unspoken questions about where this was going. Careers tugged them in different directions. One night, after a particularly stressful rehearsal, Ava sat alone on the edge of the stage. Leo approached quietly, sitting beside her. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, not trusting herself to speak. He hesitated. "I've been offered a long-term assignment. New York. 6 months." Her chest tightened. "When?" "Next week." Silence. She looked at him, trying to find anger, sadness, something she could pin down. But she found only understanding. And ache. "You should go," she said. "I want to stay." She shook her head. "You won't." "Not really." Not without resenting it. He looked down. "Can we make it work?" "I don't know." Neither of them had the answer. That night, they said goodbye without labels. No promises, just an understanding that something beautiful had happened. And that sometimes, timing didn't listen to hearts. Months passed. They texted less. Work absorbed them. The silence grew, not out of anger, but the weight of distance. Then, one day, Ava received a package. No return address. Inside, a small, framed photo. That first one, her, mid-laugh backstage. Behind it, a handwritten note. "Still finding beauty. Still thinking of you. Paris, next show?" Her hands trembled. At the next Paris show, she walked into the venue, heart racing. And there he was. Leo. Camera in hand, smile on lips. She walked up to him. "Unauthorized photography again?" He grinned. Still guilty. Their hug was quiet. No drama. Just a heartbeat of recognition. Later that night, as the runway lights dimmed and the after-party roared around them, Leo leaned close. "I still don't have all the answers," he whispered. She smiled. "Me neither. But I know this, love strikes. And sometimes, that's enough." She looked at him, eyes full. "Yes," she said. "It really is. Love strikes, unexpected, unplanned, unforgettable. Sometimes, all it takes is a moment in the madness to find the calm that feels like home."